And welcome back to the Fresh Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and this is episode number 28. Of course, I'm joined by my amazing co host, Roger.
Good week, everyone. How you doing?
So, what you been playing, man? I know we're in the midst of gaming season, as we talked about last week, but what
So,
is. Uh-oh.
so I picked up Battlefield on Sunday after our last podcast, and honestly, I refunded it this week. I
Oh,
I
no.
played it for the hour and 50 minutes with you, and I was like, honestly, after seeing all the reviews and all the poor quality of gameplay for everyone else, and just the reviews just being 27%. I was worried that honestly I was going to be stuck with a game that isn't going to be quality right now, and I'm kind of waiting for it to really get fixed, and then hopefully we'll see a price drop by then because this game is completely unpolished. The little bit we played, I had my issues. I noticed hit registration issues, and a lot of people are getting like vehicles are falling through the floors. People are, trying to shoot people point blank and nothing happens. Oh, somebody knifes somebody and they get launched up into the sky and they're somehow knifing and killing somebody while they're in the atmosphere and then they just drop in. So there are so many issues this week with that game. So I've been kind of I played that for a little bit. Been playing Valorant with you guys. I'm almost gold 1 now, which I've been trying to for this season. If I can hit gold 1, I'll be happy. Um, and hopefully maybe we can look at starting a more
Serious
competitive
competitive
team.
team, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I've been playing Forza 5 on and off. And Mountain Blade Bannerlord 2, I think, as well as another one I really kind of picked up this week and started playing again.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's
How
up.
about you, Vic?
Of course, it's just a lot of Valorant, and trying to balance between a lot of games. It's definitely difficult, but I definitely feel like I've been playing Forza Horizon 5 at least every day. That's been my most consistent game out of all of them, out of all like 8 games I'm balancing. But I've been playing. We played Halo yesterday, which was a lot of fun actually. That one's probably the most polished, well put together shooter that's out right now. But been playing a little bit of Vanguard, even though it still irritates me. Call of Duty is Call of Duty. Battlefield, I enjoy Battlefield. It's just it might have should have been delayed.
Yeah.
I even further. There's definitely a lot of issues, and I did find the scoreboard finally. You got to press and hold the start button for some reason. That's fucking new. It's never been the start button to begin with for any game, and then to hold it on console. That's a bit odd. So I was just like, okay, that's weird. But yeah, like you were saying, all the bugs and stuff like that, Battlefield, yeah, it definitely has a lot of work to do. And of course, been trying to play some 2K and Guardians of the Galaxy, so it's definitely a teetering of all the games, bunch of games,
Yeah.
so for sure. But I'm excited for all the new ones that are going to be coming out over the next couple of months as well. So, but perfect segue here. We're moving on to our upcoming game releases this week. Nothing too big, I guess per se. Farming Simulator 2022, if that's up your alley, that's coming out on November 22nd. Basically on all platforms, any Xbox, any PlayStation, the Switch, Stadia, you name it. So go have fun simulating farming, I guess, you know. Um, and the other one here, I think is a big game though. Death's Door is coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and the Switch on November 23rd. I highly recommend this game. This game should be in talks for Game of the Year. It's been snubbed this year, unfortunately. It is a smaller game, so it could win Indie Game of the Year. So I'm hoping it really wins that. It's a really solid game, and definitely check out my review on that in the coming weeks. But yeah, nonetheless, do either of those games stand out to you, Roger, at all?
Honestly, if I'm gonna get Death's Door, I'll probably get it on PC. There's no reason for me to play it
Mhm.
on the Switch or the PS4, PS5.
Right. That's what I did. I bought it on the PC so I can stream it, and if anybody did check out that stream, that was a lot of fun.
Mm.
But
So moving on here to our next topic, game impressions. So this week we saw Halo Infinite drop as well as Battlefield 2042. We'll start with Halo Infinite. So Vic, what are your opinions of Halo Infinite?
Halo Infinite, as I mentioned a little bit ago, is I think it's the most polished shooter that's out right now. There's like next to no bugs. It's a lot of fun. Um, it's just it brings back a lot of nostalgia, honestly.
Hmm.
It gives me that classic Halo feeling, but just enough modern touch to it where it's just like, all right, this is too much. The whole grappling thing is kind of an issue, I guess, per se. Like, I hope they find a way to nerf that of some sorts. But hey, I mean, it's just one of those new mechanics that changes up the Halo meta, honestly. So, but overall, I'm having a lot of fun with it. We've only played a few matches, but out of all the matches, I don't think I've been like, man, I hate this fucking game like Call of Duty makes me feel.
Yeah. I'll say some really just outlandish shit, but like at the end of the day I'm like this game is awesome. I was not expecting to be blown away like I was for Halo Infinite multiplayer after playing the Master Chief Collection and feeling like, you could never find a good game because nobody knew what they were doing, and
Hmm.
even if you placed top, you still couldn't win the games. I'm a little disappointed at some of the rotation right now for the multiplayer game modes because
Hmm.
a lot of people are unsure how to play these game modes, which is quite surprising to me. Like the Power Core stockpile, I think, is what
Yeah,
it is.
stockpile. Yeah.
Stockpile seems to be like the biggest brain dead type of mission gameplay. But for some reason, I played a game where I was the only one who really capped any stockpile, and I still had the most kills. And I'm like, why am I the only one doing anything? And
Right.
you were on defense, and it's like, well, nobody's going to come get our stuff now because they're already, a whole section ahead of us. The game honestly felt there feels like the community is still trying to grasp the game, so
Hmm.
it's still very new, I think, is some of the issues that you'll find with the game, being that it's only multiplayer right now.
Right.
With Forge missing and the campaign not coming for another 2 weeks, I honestly feel as though the game is okay. I'm hopeful and optimistic that the campaign is going to be awesome,
Hmm.
as well as the Forge mode coming to really take a lot of these assets that seem really cool and fun and really make the game a lot more lively. But the multiplayer itself, it feels polished, it feels refined, it feels fun to play. So
I
I've
just
got no
wish
qualms with the game.
I just wish there was like a game mode selection, like you select either big team battle or 4v4. Like you don't get to choose like what game modes in
Well,
those
you
and stuff
can
like that.
kind of select that. You can kind of change that, but then you have to save a custom playlist and all this stuff. So it definitely has its moments where I'm trying to still figure out the menu and the UI, but the game itself feels okay. For what we've
Hmm.
got from previous Halos, this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on to the Battlefield 2042, you already said that you were fond of it. But did you have any fun while playing Battlefield at all? Would you ever want to
Well,
pick it back up?
I definitely want to pick the game back up, but I feel as though the community is going to die fast. Nobody wants to play the game right now that I know because the game is just unpolished.
Hmm.
People are getting falsely banned. People are dealing with Razer Synapse issues once again, where Razer is triggering anti cheat engines, and then anti cheat engines are perma banning people. So that's an issue that just scares me. What if I buy the game and then I get perma banned? Now I have to come up with a new Steam ID to be able to play the game and buy it again.
Yeah, no.
So I definitely feel as though there are some issues that need to be worked out, and the banning and the systems itself need to be fixed before we start talking about expanding the game.
Right.
Because at this point, you can't expand a game that's unplayable for the most part. Like you can get through a game, you can play it, but there's only one game mode, and it's always take the sites, go, you're done.
Right.
So I definitely feel as though there's a lot to be worked on, and the class system feels clunky, and there's very few guns and weapons that feel worthwhile to use.
Hmm.
And I feel as though the vehicle spam is the biggest issue in the game.
Yeah, because you can call in a vehicle at any like it feels like at any given moment you're like, oh, I need a vehicle. Here it comes, just raining down from the sky. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, that's not fun. And then the like all of the vehicles are overpowered, even the goddamn hoverboat. Like I don't get it.
hoverboat's the worst.
I'm
And
like, what the
somebody was
hell?
flying. I watched one where somebody got the hoverboat so that they could fly it through the sky,
Oh
and they
jeez.
ran it into a helicopter, killed the helicopter, got a triple kill, and then continued to fly the hoverboat somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes no goddamn sense. So yeah, that game is a
I'm
lot of
just
work.
Yeah. So I definitely, if you're on the fence, don't buy the game right now. That's
Yeah,
that's my
I would
honest
wait.
review of the game. Hmm.
Yeah, I would wait a few months, let it get all the bugs and kinks out of it, and then once they start officially polishing and giving quality of life updates to it, and then start adding more content that's missing to the game, That's where it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think what they're leaning on the most out of this game is gonna be Portal. All like that separate custom game section. I think that's where that
They're
they're
gonna make
leaning
the
heavy on.
players make the content. That's the issue. Players are gonna have to make the content that keeps the players engaged, which to me isn't what I want to play Battlefield for. I want to play Battlefield for
This isn't
a more
Halo.
realistic, yeah, I want to play a more realistic shooter than Halo or Call of Duty. I want to play a military simulator essentially. I want to be able to get in and, actually feel like I'm a cog in the machine trying to work together to help my team, not just running and gunning like you do.
Right.
So, staying here along the lines of first-person shooters in our gaming news, Call of Duty. Their first map pack was announced for the first week of December. It has now been delayed, I believe, to the second week of December. I think it went from the 3rd to the 8th.
hmm Yeah,
So
yeah. They delayed the Warzone map. Pacific map was delayed 1 week, so that sucks because like Warzone is already still stale and blah and just terrible. But I mean, if Battlefield's anything to go by, if you need to delay it, delay it. Take the necessary
yeah,
time to release good quality content. Otherwise, you're just gonna just continue to have trash content that no one wants to play. Even though Warzone
exactly.
is the one of the most played games, I get it, but you're not going to win me back to play it until you fix your game. I don't want to play with cheaters. I'm tired of the same old Warzone map that I've had for 19 months. I'm over it.
And I
Something new.
want this map, if they're going to drop a new map, I want the map to succeed. That's the issue. So I agree. At this point, good on you, Call of Duty, for pushing back the Pacific release. But there's nothing more to be said there, really. Moving on to the world of Blizzard, though, as a whole, Activision Blizzard. Shareholders are calling now for the three top execs to resign. A total of 4.8 million shareholders. So shareholders totaling 4.8 million shares, which is only 0.6% of the company, have now demanded the resignation of the CEO, and they asked that the board chair and the lead independent director both step down. What's your thoughts on this, Vic?
I think it's a necessity. I think that company needs that kind of a shakeup because I feel like those three people that are in charge are not doing the right thing and they're not taking the right steps to try and do the right thing either. And I think they're just trying to beat around the bush and sweep it under the rug. So time to clean house. Simple as
Kind of
that.
with you. I think it kind of sucks that it's only 0.6% of the board is actually asking for these people to step down.
Yeah, I wish there was more people that was asking for it, but maybe this number will continue to grow the more and more that nothing gets done.
Maybe. But along with Blizzard now announcing the new 9.2 for Shadowlands, and many other changes coming to Activision Blizzard's catalog, I'm quite surprised we're still kind of sitting with the same board of directors.
hmm
We're looking at they've tried to turn the community against the people who are like calling out sexual harassment. Then they're, oh, we'll continue to produce content because we can't withhold content. Oops.
Yeah, no shit.
No shit. So, stepping into another world here for MMOs, New World. New World has just announced and already deployed their update 1.1 into the void. Vic, have you been kind of looking at New World at all?
Not really. Other than when you post content and stuff like that, that's the only time I really do check it out. Um, have you hopped into it yet? Because I mean, this looks like it's pretty cool. I just hope it's enough content to hold
I
over
have
people
not.
some.
I have not jumped into New World into the void yet. Interested to see now that they're kind of expanding. As we said before, they're really upgrading the amount of weapons we're looking at in the game. They've added a new weapon called the Void Gauntlet. This weapon actually scales off of focus, which is a stat that only one weapon had previously used. So I'm kind of interested to see where we're going to go here with New World now that they're adding more content as we move forward. Maybe we're going to continue to see more and more weapons. We saw balancing changes this week. They saw bug fixes. We saw new enemies and zones. So I'm not zones, but new enemies and a change up for some of the zones, which is quite interesting to me. I'm actually quite surprised to see, the labor of love that's going into this. I think the major issue for these patches to really hit home, I think we need to start fixing the issue with the player base because
Mhm.
that's something that a lot of these games nowadays are for some reason planning for. Everyone thinks that they're going to get a huge player base, but then they don't because they make a game that
That's
that
half-assed.
they either half-assed or there's not enough quality or there's not enough content. So we're looking at issues with the development process, and at the end, everyone's like, "Well, we're going to have millions of players, billions of players," and for some reason, they're like, "We've got a plan for that." And then when they don't, now the game itself takes a hit because they planned for too many players and they
Mhm.
barely have any. So,
Right.
um,
Yeah, I'm looking at
talking here,
some of the changes. Though. It looks like they're adding like faster movement speed on roads,
they're
linking
trying to,
trading posts, new quests.
yep.
There's a bunch of other content too. I guess that's what it. But that's pretty cool. What is the movement speed on the roads like? Is that just talking about like traveling? Like, is you're going to be a little
Yeah,
bit
since
quicker?
there are no, there's no way to, there's a fast travel mechanic in the game. You can use
Mm-hmm.
the fast travel, but there are no mounts. So from getting from point A to
Mm.
point B can be quite tedious. The game feels like a walking simulator, many people say.
Why is there no mounts?
Um,
That's odd.
there's a whole lore reason behind the animals having an uprising against the people themselves, and
I have
so,
cars or something. I
well,
don't know.
this game is actually meant to be in the era of exploration, so the time of Christopher Columbus and things like
Mm,
that. So we're looking at, Renaissance era of
yeah,
like content with now magic involved.
yeah.
So there are no vehicles, but we're definitely looking at ways to make the game better. So now if you're on
Mhm.
roads, you move slightly faster, I guess, which is an interesting content change. It feels minor, but it'll have a major impact, in my
Right.
opinion. Talking here though in the world of poorly designed and executed games, GTA Remastered Trilogy. So Vic, have you seen the user review rating currently?
Yeah, I don't know what it was up to now, but it was at like 0.4 or something like that out of 10. That is awful. And I kind of seen this coming. You're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting resources on a game that does not need to be remastered, and you clearly didn't give a fuck, and this was a money grab.
Not only that, the what's even funnier is the fact that they made this remake. Players have already remade and remastered this game through modding, and it looks better than Rockstar did. A multi-million billion dollar studio, failed to make a game as good as an independent developer, a
Mhm.
single independent
On
developer.
Metacritic, it has a 0.5 user score.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. And like you're looking at the critic reviews too, like they're getting 58 out of 100, 50 out of 100, 40 out of 100. Like it's just like an awful game. It's just like it's just something that should have been left alone,
Yeah.
honestly.
So honestly, I think the big issue here is critics. I think that's where we're critics are giving this a 5.5. This is a flop beyond users. Users are should be the merit, like the litmus test for whether something is good or not.
Hmm.
I think we rely too much on critics in the entertainment industry,
Hmm.
and we don't really value the contribution to people,
Right.
because you know this world is a democracy, but our industry for entertainment acts kind of like America as a whole. The people with money talk, and not really the people who vote with their opinions. So I
Right.
think right now we really need to start focusing on the user reviews. This is what the industry needs, in my opinion. The users are telling you right now, this is not what we want. Look at what we did better. And the critics are not just openly bombing it for no reason. Almost all of them are expressing why they're bombing these reviews. And people
Right.
are talking about, look at this. This is an independent developer who did better than you guys. It looks better. Oh, one of the things they did was they increased the number of polygons and things so that things looked finer. There were more details. Well, the issue at hand is when they increased the polygon count, they increased the polygon count on everything. So one of the things is donuts. It was like a donut shop in the game. Well, the donut used to look like a look very rigid and not very good for a donut. And then there was a small little nut for a screw thread, and that looked like an actual nut. Well, they increased the polygon count, so now the nut looks like a donut, and the donut looks like a better donut. So, like, we're looking at this where they're just like, we're just going to pump the values and hand it out. So you can kind of tell that the game is rushed and there's not a labor of love in it at,
No, yeah, that was
at
definitely
all.
something that they seem like they just threw together, and because everyone's like wondering where the hell GTA 6 is at, and they're like, "Oh shit, we need new content. We need to do something. Just remaster. Let's do what everyone else is doing. Let's remaster something and give it to them." And that's exactly what they did. And you were just wasting time. You stop beating around the bush. And I know my boy JD over at Shoot the Win. He talks about it all the time. He was like, Rockstar is at the point where one, there's no competition, and two, that they're stagnant.
Yeah,
They have no motivation to create anything new. They have GTA 5, which is still doing really well, and Red Dead Redemption 2, which is also doing really well, but there's no competition in the market. There's no other games that does something similar. I mean, granted, we are getting Saints Row soon, and I hope that kicks GTA in the ass when it does come out, because that's going to make them realize, oh shit, we need to do something new and inventive and more creative, and hopefully come out with GTA 6. And what can they do? And the thing is, I was telling JD, I was like, what they need to do is, instead of making a new GTA or a new Red Dead Redemption, how about you create a new IP for once? Be creative. Use that massive amount of money that you have and massive all that talent that's there at your studio. Use it to create something new, fresh. That's going to be fun. I know it's possible, and I think that's what that company needs, is something new.
I agree. Rockstar has made many games that aren't Red Dead or GTA over the years, and they've dropped all those IPs because they can't they can't sell you on microtransactions in GTA if you're playing another game now. So I
Right.
think that's the issue. There is no competition, so they're going to continue to make their
'Cause,
money in a stagnant world.
I mean, looking at the other games that they have made, like a Bully, make a Bully too. That game was a lot of fun back in the day.
The game was huge. It was
the
amazing.
the Max Payne franchise. That I mean that actually there could be one in the works, since they just added those to on Xbox again with the whole backwards compatibility. L.A. Noir, that was really
It
cool.
was
That
an
was something
amazing game.
different. Even like going back to like before Red Dead, it was what Red Dead Revolver or whatever. Like that was a classic. Midnight Club series, which I know we probably won't see anymore. But maybe that'll be an add-on in GTA. But it's just like they have a lot of IPs that are just sitting dormant that you can either revive or even just do something different. Like
Yeah.
honestly.
They have a lot of talent that's being wasted. And talk about talent that's being wasted. Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red said that they decided they are not going to be coming to Game Pass ever. Do you see any problems with that, Vic? Because I
uh,
don't. I'm like, yeah, fine.
I
What are
think
your thoughts?
there's a 100% problem with this. The game is already doing absolutely terrible, and it barely has a player count anymore. And what do we know that Game Pass does? It breathes new life into games. It increases player base, and it gives it a chance to people who didn't want to buy this game, who didn't want to spend $60 on this game, who doesn't even want to spend $20 on this game, a chance to give this a try. People who have the Series X, the Series S, the PS5 are going to be able to play this game and have next to zero issues. So I don't see why not. Like this makes no sense not to add it to Game Pass, to give it a chance, to give it that second wind that it needs. And maybe they're really just holding out until they release the next gen version for it to get its second life, because at this point I think they're just giving up on it.
I don't know if they're giving up, but I think they're kind of biding their time. They're like, okay, we had a disastrous launch. We're gonna try and come back better,
Yeah.
like fucking a space exploration game. I can't even remember
No
its
Man's
name anymore.
Sky.
No Man's Sky. Thank you. Yeah. So honestly, I feel as though they're going for the No Man's Sky redemption arc here,
Hmm.
and we'll wait and see. But sticking in the world of streaming, xCloud just announced that they are available in beta as of 11/17. This includes Xbox X,
All
S,
Xbox
and One.
consoles.
All Xbox consoles, all Xbox One and above.
Yeah.
So with Xbox xCloud, you'll now be able to stream a select library of games on the Xbox X, S, or Xbox Original, Xbox One, at any given time as long as you have the network bandwidth for it. You excited
Mhm.
for this, Vic?
I think this is going to be big, especially in times where you can't get a Series X or S, and with more and more games that are going to be coming out exclusive to Xbox. Most of them are going to be Series X and S exclusives. Now this gives people a chance to be able to play these games if they do still have an Xbox One who can't get the Series X and S, a chance to play these games. And I think that's going to be huge. You're going to be able to include a large sum of your player base and not cut anybody out. Like, oh, sorry, you don't got the new console, you can't play with us. Sorry, no, they're going to be able to include
Sure.
them. And what it's also doing is, if you do have the new systems, instead of downloading a hundred and some gigabyte game onto my console and taking up more space that I don't know if I'm even going to enjoy and waste my time with, a chance to try it out and see if you thoroughly are going to enjoy this game. And if you want the full fidelity of the game, download it. Then you'll
Yeah.
have max settings and all that other stuff that you really want.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is interesting to see that xCloud finally hit beta this last week. So check it out if you're looking to play some games. Maybe you may be down level on a console and not have a PC. This is your way to get into the next gen. Sticking in the world of streaming, GeForce has now entered the streaming race with a partnership in LG TVs. Now you'll be able to have a GeForce streaming app on your LG TV, and this will allow you to play games, a large selection of games, for a nominal monthly fee, I believe.
Yeah. No,
So,
it's been their subscription that's been out for a while. It's their GeForce Now subscription.
yeah,
It just allows you to stream games over cloud like xCloud does with Xbox, and it's they partnership with LG, and it's going to have a built-in app that you can stream the games right from the TV. And the thing is, they this is crazy to see. They beat Xbox to what I think Xbox was already planning on doing. Xbox usually has a partnership with Samsung, and I think Samsung is going to have the Xbox app on it. I think Xbox and LG are going to be the first two TV manufacturers that have um, game streaming built in to the TV, and I think that's going to be a huge next step, especially with xCloud coming on the consoles. That's showing that pretty much any device is going to be able to run this at this point, as long as you have the good internet. It actually works pretty well because I actually stream games when I'm at work, and that
yeah.
internet there isn't that great, but it still runs. It has a little bit of latency, but it's manageable. Am I going to play Call of Duty competitively on it? No, definitely don't recommend that at all. But
Yeah.
this is big. I think that, I mean, it's good. It's taking that next step and it's pushing that cloud gaming. And I think that's going to be part of our future. Just another way of being able to play.
No, I agree. So, moving on here from the streaming service world, the Yakuza developers Ryuga Gotuko, has decided to produce a new Yakuza game, Yakuza 8, as well as
Mhm. A new judgment.
A new Judgment game, and a brand new game in development that is not related to either.
Yeah.
So, what's your thoughts about this, Vic? You played Yakuza a little bit? You said, right?
Yeah. I started Yakuza Kiwami 1, I guess, or no, I played Yakuza 0. I started
Yeah.
that one, and that was fun. It's definitely an interesting game. It's a game that I feel like once we get out of gaming season that I can go back into, because there's just too many games dropping right now that I gotta get into first. But
Want to
yeah,
play? Yeah.
right, that I really want to play. I do want to eventually get into Yakuza games because they progressively get better, which is even which is even crazier to think about. But that they the crazy part is that they announced that they're working on 3 games. Like, I don't know how big this studio is, but that's pretty crazy to think that they have a Yakuza 8 in development, a new Judgment game, and then a new IP all in the works right now. Whether see how far along each of those are, but I mean that's exciting news, man. And I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox snags that one up too.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of in the same place as you are right now. The studio has always made some really good games, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see what they come out with now because Like a Dragon seemed pretty good. Yakuza, the whole series that I've played so far, has been phenomenal, fun, just enjoyable. I'm hoping we get the same feel, and honestly, I want to see where this goes.
I'm just eager to see what kind of IP, like what new IP that they come out with, because like they've only made what all of the Yakuza games, Judgment, Lost Judgment, they have Binary Domain, uh, Fist of the North Star, like, and then there's like Super Monkey Ball. I guess they helped out with the game with that at one point. Um, so I'm curious to see what they can come out with. Oh, apparently they helped out with Daytona USA 2001. Okay, that's a random ass looking thing they helped out with. Maybe like the port for Japan or something like that is what they helped out with.
Quite
But yeah,
possible.
I'm curious to see what they could come up with. Whether they do something completely different or sticking along the lines of like that JRPG feel.
Oh, exactly. Now, moving on here to the Western world, WB Studios has announced a new game, Multiverse.
Multiversus.
Multiverses, sorry. A WB Smash clone that includes characters from all of WB's catalogs for movies and TV shows. That includes things like Scooby-Doo, Batman, and many, many more. What's your thoughts here, Vic? You know, this is the DC world meets the WB TV plus cartoon
Right.
world.
Um, this was random. This literally came out of left field, out of nowhere. We were like, I don't think anybody was asking for this game, to be honest with you. But I think it's kind of riding that nostalgia wave, like that wave of Smash is doing really well, and which we're gonna dive into another topic in regards to that soon. But watching Nickelodeon's All Star Brawl do fairly good, it reviewed fairly good. Um, but with this one coming out, it's interesting because they actually are getting good voice actors. Like they have the dude who voiced Shaggy to voicing Shaggy from like the movies and stuff. I forget his name right now. I'm drawing a blank on the names, but that's pretty cool because that's something that guess what Nickelodeon did not do. Like, how do you not go out there and get the cartoon actual voices? You know what I mean? Like they are the personality. They are the characters. Those voices are distinct.
Tune, you are, yeah.
So like,
It's literally, yeah, it's replacing it's the same thing that Marvel had done with some of their voice actors before.
mhm,
And DC is highly known for just swapping people out. So I'm quite surprised that we're actually going to see the people who are the voice of the cartoon. It's not like facial recognition. You recognize the voice at that point.
mhm,
So I'm not excited about this game. I think it's just riding the hype wave of Nickelodeon All Stars. I'm thinking they saw the hype that the internet had
mhm,
around that, and they were like, you know, we might be able to get the same hype. But the quality of the game looked pretty poor, in my opinion.
yeah,
It it was lacking a lot.
yeah.
So
I mean, it'll probably be a games of service and all that other nonsense.
yeah, they're gonna have battle passes. We're gonna add new characters, but the quality of gameplay, it's no esports style game. So I'm definitely feeling like this is a game we don't
It
need right now.
Right, it's just another party game that we're already overly saturated with right now.
Yeah,
So
it is
it's
what
all
it
right.
is. But sticking here to the original for the Party Smash, Nintendo and Smash Bros. They have announced there will be a new esports league for Smash Brothers. There's always been local tournaments and a tournament league, but now they're officially making it an esports after the announcement of the 2022 circuit for Smash Bros. Ultimate.
This is huge, man. It's crazy to think like there for a while, like they didn't want to do this, and everyone has been asking for it to be big. And I think what the problem was is the whole online aspect of trying to play Smash. I know that that was always a problem with the like latency and the delay and stuff like that. So it was hard to play this online for esports. But it'll be pretty cool to see if they actually do like more in person like tournaments, like big tournaments, kind of like how Call of Duty does. Like the Call of Duty League is huge. Um, this is definitely big for the gaming world, and especially Smash. Maybe this breathes a little bit more life into the tail end of Smash's life right now. What's your
Yeah,
take on it, though?
especially. I think this is the thing because Genesis 7 has been around since 2009, and they're known for the Smash Bros Melee, and Smash Bros Ultimate tournament scene.
Hmm.
Um, this is where California, Europe, and many other players across the world meet to play these games. But now Nintendo is officially recognizing in an esports league
Hmm.
is kind of what we're looking for. It's the developers themselves building out their game to be a good game. Like it says to the developers, we want to continue playing your game, but you have to show us the labor of love. So maybe this itself will help to change Nintendo's stance on Smash Bros. And potentially continue to balance and make changes based on whether or not things are good or bad for the game. Because
Hmm.
that's what we deal with right now with things like League of Legends and many of these other big esports. We
Right.
see these balance changes all the time. You know, Warzone makes balance changes.
Hmm. Yeah, they do.
Every
They
other,
yeah, they change
yeah,
like the weapons and stuff like that. Increase recoil, decrease recoil, increase damage, decrease. Like they do all kind of
yeah,
minor adjustments that ultimately affect the game.
yeah. So this is what we need right now, I think, is for developers to say instead of us doing one or two, small tournaments here or there, and then just letting the players to do their own thing, it now says we want you to continue to put the labor of love into this game. We want to keep playing it. I don't want you to go on and make another Smash Bros or anything. This
Hmm.
is what we want to do.
Right, and
Support it until the console is done.
right.
Then we'll play a new one.
And I'm curious now with this announcement, are they going to continue to add new content to Smash now after they said that they weren't going to? Will this shake up that idea and make them want to create like add more characters, add more levels and stuff like that? Because they have a huge catalog to pull from. Like, why not to keep adding to this, keep making money off of this, keep making the player base happy and
I
satisfied?
don't know. I think at some point you're going to go, well, I think the catalog's almost too big, but at the same time, I like that they're doing collabs. We're seeing people like
Everybody loves the
characters
collabs.
from Tekken. Yeah, we're getting characters from Tekken. We're getting characters from Disney. We're getting characters from. We literally got Minecraft Steve. It's the character nobody wanted, but somehow enjoyed having it because he's stupid.
Right.
It There are some fun ones because the game is both for casuals and serious gamers alike. So I'll beyond excited to see Nintendo finally go. Maybe we will become more of a instead of just launch the game and move on, launch a game and move on. It's
Right.
now we want to engage our community.
Right, because look at the success from Fortnite and Roblox. Like they do partnerships and collabs all the time. Look at Fortnite's most recent one with Naruto. Like that one came out of fucking left field too. And Rick and Morty before. Like those characters don't even look like they belong in Fortnite. Period. But
Yeah,
they made it work. Same thing with Master Chief and Kratos. Like who would have thought you would have seen them in Fortnite 3 years
yeah,
ago? Nobody.
exactly. I mean, money talks, my friend, and I think Nintendo realized that if they support the scene, the esports scene, they're gonna make money.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unlike Blizzard, who can't make any money on their esports scene.
And imagine. But it looks like that's all of our gaming news for the week. But let's move on to our deep freeze moment. I think this one's a good one here. We're going to do our top 5 Microsoft games of all time. We're going to do it like a round robin style. So, Roger, I'm going to start with you. Start with your first one.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go. We'll go old to new. I think Age of Empires has to be one of my favorite Microsoft Studio games,
Hmm.
whether it be the third one or now the fourth one.
Right.
I never really got to play one and two because they predated when I had a computer that could play them. But honestly, the fact that Microsoft has been there from day one and they continue to support and make it, the fact that Age of Empires 4 came out of nowhere and actually was really good. Like
Right.
it's surprisingly good game. I'm super happy with how Microsoft is handling their IPs lately, and this is no different.
Right. It looks like Age of Empires 4 has a 81 Metascore and a 7.8 user score right now. So that's a pretty solid game, if you
Yeah,
ask me. It's
if
basically
you
an
get
8,
in, yeah,
8 out
if
of
you're
10.
an 8 out of 10, that's good. When you hit five, you're kind of out of the running
Yeah.
altogether. But like, and nines are reserved for super hyped games, even if they don't perform sometimes.
Right. I think to get an 8 is pretty good, because like, most games that are good get 7, and then, like, 8 is a pretty solid ground, and then, like, 10s are perfections, and then, like, 9s are just, like, that really weird area. Really,
Yeah,
really weird. But, I would say my first game would have to be the Ori franchise, both, Blinded Forest and then, Will o' the Wisp. Um, they were both really enjoyable. Like those were like games that I never knew I needed in my life. I haven't played a platformer like that in a very long time, and when I beat the first one, I was like, "Yo, this game was dope. This game was a lot of fun." And visually, it was appalling. And then like the soundtrack in Ori is one of the best soundtracks you can have in a video game. It like immerses you to the next level. Did you? I know you played Ori. I think you might have
beat them
played.
both.
But yeah, but
I
say I
beat
haven't
them
beat the
both.
second one yet, but I definitely started it and I got to the first boss and was struggling. I was like, I don't got time for this.
No,
But
the
yeah.
games were very, very good. They were honestly, I didn't even know they were Microsoft games. I just thought they were, I didn't realize Microsoft was the studio that published them. The publisher, not the studio that developed them. But they're very
Hmm.
good games.
Yeah, because they're Xbox exclusive, so they were developed by Moon Studios and then published
Well, they're
by
on PC
Xbox.
as well, so.
Well, technically, it's on Switch now too,
Oh, okay, yeah. So,
but it was an Xbox, it's a Microsoft um, published game.
all right. So my second game is gonna have to be Halo Combat Evolved.
Okay,
You know, booting up Halo Combat Evolved, that song still sticks with me to this day.
it
You
gives me
know,
chills
the
every time I hear
soundtrack.
it.
Yep. I can't go a day without, liking that soundtrack myself. It's such an iconic soundtrack, just the upbeat battle music at all
Hmm.
times. The story was well written. Even if it felt a little janky at times, you felt like everything you did was for a reason, and your character was always like, I've got to do the right thing. And just the characters, the enemies, even the grunt, even like the grunts feel satisfying
Right, they
as
were
a
so
character.
every character, every enemy, no matter what, in any of the Halos are so iconic. Like everyone knows what they are or know what franchise they are from.
And it mixed both the seriousness and the humor so well.
Hmm.
You shoot a grunt in the face, and their other friends like, "Oh my God, they shot him in the face!" And you're just like, "Yes,
Okay.
I did, sir. Here
And then
I
like
come."
when you threw in the skulls, like the grunt birthday, you shoot him in the face. I was like, yay! Like oh, like that was so goofy, but you had to have that on. It was so much fun.
I agree. What would you be your second game then?
Mine. This one's actually kind of going to be out there that I don't even know if you played yet. Is Quantum Break. This was a game that was developed by Remedy Games. That was a Microsoft published exclusive game. But this one was interesting because this one's supposed to be part of that whole Alan Wake control universe, like supernatural kind of universe that they're working with. But this one had a thing where, depending on the decisions that you made in the game, the TV show episode that you would watch after each level would be different depending on your decisions. So it was like a game and a TV show at the same time. So it went from game and then the TV show was legitimate. Like it was like that shit should be on the TV. Like it was real actors. It wasn't animated at all. It was real people, real shit. And I was just like, yo, that's dope to blend the two kind of media to have games and TV shows together and not
Yeah,
separate. Like not here's the game, here's the TV show. Like Witcher, for example. Like no, it's all one, and whatever you do in the game affects your TV show that you're watching. So
that's really cool.
if you never played it, I highly recommend it. And it's one of those underrated gems that kind of just slid on through. It was during a bad time with the Xbox One, dealing with their bad PR and stuff like that. So this game probably got missed by a lot of people.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but never looked at it once.
Well, I think it's on Game Pass, so go for it.
So, for my game three, I think I would have to say Halo 2.
Hmm.
Halo 2 was that game for me after you played Halo 1 and then Halo 2 came out, and you're like, okay, how do you top the ending? You're driving, through an exploding ship to get to the end, to get on that ray, to leave the planet. Like, where do you go from here? And oh my God, they did it. They did it. You're getting an award, and you're like, yeah, wait, I'm getting an award for what I did in the last game, and then all of a sudden,
Oh, hell breaks
battle,
loose.
and you're like, let's go. And you just start rocking some heads. Again, you're on a ship and everything goes to shit and you just start breaking skulls.
Right. Classic, man. Was Halo 2, was that the one where we when we were playing Legendary on that one level and we were beating those boxes to get like
Boxes. Yep.
yes, was that Halo 2? Okay, yeah. That
Yeah.
game, man, so many fucking memories. All the stupid shit we were doing.
The replay value of it was just astounding.
Yeah, and the added
I could
features
play
when they
that
added like
campaign.
dual wielding guns in that game, that was so much fun. And then that was the first one that had Xbox Live, like multiplayer. Um and that
Yeah.
like that's
Halo
so
Combat
iconic.
Evolved had it, but it wasn't to the same effect where Halo 2 really made it a thing. Because Combat Evolved had multiplayer and it was actually huge on the PC. It was one of the biggest
Right.
PC shooters for a long, long time. Even into the Halo 2 years, people were still playing it. There was still a huge
Hmm.
cult following for Halo Combat Evolved on PC. So I definitely would have to say that Halo 2 took Halo 1, made it better, and continued to just innovate. We
Right.
got things like Forge, I believe, in Halo 2. Didn't
Halo 3 was the first
Halo
one,
3 with
unfortunately.
Forge? Yeah, so we got the custom games though in Halo 2 were still good. They felt fun and
Mhm.
like the online was there. So Halo 2 would be probably my second game I'd have to choose.
That was your third one.
Third, yes.
Yeah, I was like, "Wait a minute, we went backwards." But yeah, so my third one would have to be the, Forza franchise, and specifically the Horizon one over the Motorsport one, just because of the realism that I get from that game and the open world. The cars look damn near realistic in every single adaptation of them. Like, even on the 360 when the first one came out, I was like, "Yo, this shit looks crazy." Like, I've never seen a racing game this detailed, this accurate, and felt that real. And then, like, all the minor adjustments and the tweaking and the customization that you can do in the game is endless.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, and they continue to I don't even know how they improve year over year, like, not year over year, but from game to game. Like, I don't know how they keep pushing the limits. Like, I don't. So it's crazy to see. I don't like what's next. What's next for them? They're going to do Horizon 6. Like, what can they do in Horizon 6? I don't know. I mean, they do. Playground
The
Games does have Fable in the works, so they are working on a different type of game. So
Yeah, honestly, I want to piggyback on you and say my fourth was going to be Horizon 5. That to me, Horizon 5 was like the first Forza game I played, and it it's gorgeous. It's one of the best games I've played in a long time, and it even got my wife into gaming again. Like she doesn't want to put Horizon down. It's so
right,
good.
yeah.
I
I
see
seen her
posts
on
all
her.
the time.
I seen her on it earlier today on Discord because it tells you like what people are playing, and she was playing it. I was like, "Yo, she loves that game, huh?"
Yeah, no, she's got more hours than me in it at this point, I think. It's seriously a great game, and I'm super impressed at how well it plays because the cars all feel unique and like they're researched. It feels like, and the tweaking, just the ability to buy and manage, like, oh, I want to take my car up to an S1 class. Yeah, it's an S1 class, but it may not be able to compete with a Ferrari S1 class.
Right.
But you could. I took my Vocho, my Baja Beetle, and I made that from a D class or whatever it starts out as to an S1 class. That thing hits 80 miles an hour in 3 seconds, and I'm like, yeah, let's
Let's
go.
get it.
Let's
No,
get
yeah.
it.
It's crazy. Like the Forza franchise, both Motorsport and Horizon, do really well with that tweaking stuff. Like, if you're really a car guy, like a car person, like, you know everything about cars, you can work on cars yourself, you like to modify them and kind of stuff. This is your virtual way of doing it, and you could do it on any car that you really want to.
It's a car
So
simulator. It's a
yeah,
car and racing simulator that feels like an actual simulator. It feels good.
in Forza
I'm
5, like, I like the little stories that are going on, like, I'm doing, like, a checklist, like, it's like a list mission, and it's like I'm doing stunt shit for a movie that they're making, and I was just like, "This is dope," like, whether it seems cheesy, but it's dope, like, I'm doing shit in a racing game that's gonna have
Yeah.
meaning, you know, but it doesn't, but it does at the same time, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's all just races all the time as well.
Right.
One of the things is help somebody, find their grandfather's bug in a garage, and you help restore it, and you find all the different modifications her grandfather had done over the
Mhm.
years while owning that bug, and then she gives it to you, and you get to do like one of two missions. Then you get the next two missions. So like, oh, do you want to do stunt driving this Vocho through the desert, or do you want to hit 150 miles an hour in this bug going down the highway? What do you want to do?
Right,
So I was definitely blown away with how well the game was designed.
for sure.
Moving on here to my number five,
Well, wait a
since
minute, I
or
gotta
was
say
that
my
was your
4th.
number third? Yeah, your
Yeah, I gotta
fourth.
say, my 4th is the Gears franchise, and specifically the 3rd one. I think the 3rd one is when it really took it to its probably max potential because I haven't played 5 yet, so and I heard 5 is phenomenal, but 3 just took it to the next level. Like, look, because we're in the midst of playing them. We beat the first 2, and we're on the 3rd one right now. Graphically, between 2 and 3 is like night and day difference. The graphics
Yeah.
are crazy.
Well,
The
and that's the thing. We're replaying them. We've already
Right.
played this once, but now to want to play it again.
Yeah, exactly. Me to like to be able to replay a game is different because I don't replay games. There's not many
Yeah.
games that I'd be like, I want to replay. None of the games that came out the past couple of years have I ever wanted to replay, no matter how good they
Yeah,
were. I
I
just
agree.
don't have the time or the effort. But like when a game makes you want to replay them again, that's telling you something.
Yeah, like for example, I'm still playing through the Near Replicant story, and I just finally beat the original version of the game, and now I'm on the final ending of the game, and I just want to keep replaying it. It's there are games now that there are very few that I'm like, this is what I want to keep playing. And the story with Dom, this was my number 5 actually. Gears was my number 5, and specifically Gears 1, 2, and 3, the original 3.
Hmm.
That trilogy to me, that story, without all the side stuff, because we talk about other characters in some of the other Gears games. Gears 1, 2, and 3 for me, that's Gears.
Hmm.
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal because they don't give you the whole story up front. You don't realize your character's actually, why is your character a war criminal? He's inside a jail that's been abandoned for like a year or for a while, and you're like, oh, this guy's picking you out, and you're like, oh, I'm being freed, and you're like, yeah, we need you, we need everyone. And you're like, okay, and then
Hmm.
you really see how much the world has gone to shit, and they don't ever explain, are you on Earth or another planet, or
Right.
they just call it Terra, I think.
Hmm.
But it's it's definitely one of those games where I felt that you connected to the characters, like Dom looking for his wife, and you finally get close to where his wife is, and you find her, and he has to put his wife out of her misery. Like that scene to me spoke to me, like on a wow. The writing was just like, damn.
Yeah, it hits you hard. You're like, damn, I really feel like I lost her, and you
Yeah,
don't
you
have
feel
no
like
connection to her really, other than
you
like
you you
you're playing
just
that
saw
guy.
met yeah, you just found her once, and then you care about this character, and all of a sudden you're like, you're invested in his trauma, his dealings, and now you have to go the whole game knowing what he just did as the second player.
Right.
As the primary player, that wasn't your thing. But as the secondary player, that's you now. That was your character. Your character had to do that. But as the primary player, you're like, how do you approach your friend now who's,
Hmm.
if I was him, how do I say anything to Dom now? Like, damn, that's some fucking writing. And everything is always just the underdogs continuing to try and just claw their way for survival.
Yeah. Yeah. Gears will always be held on a high pedestal as one of the
Agreed.
greats.
And what's your last one then?
Mine is the Halo franchise, and specifically number 3. I don't think I would be where I am in video games if it wasn't for Halo 3. I specifically made my transition from PlayStation 2 to an Xbox 360 was because
Just
of
for Halo.
Halo, and Halo 3 just came out because I was playing a lot with you. I was playing a lot with my boy Devin, and we were just investing so much time into it. The story was phenomenal, one of the best stories of all time. The multiplayer, that was probably the Halo that I spent the most time in multiplayer with. But Forge, that was the introduction of Forge, and I was loving Forge. I love to create maps, whether it be for zombies, racing maps. It was just fun, or playing those Forge battles where it'd be 2v2 and we're trying to build a base and say go, and now we're flying back and forth and trying to blow each other up and just having so much fun in that
Yeah.
game. And it's just like that game was endless amounts of playability, endless.
I It was awesome. It was an amazing game. And then for them to follow on to Halo 3 with ODST,
Oh, I love the ODST.
it was a whole different game, but yet it was still good. So I definitely agree. For the fifth game, yeah, Halo for me, I had to break it down to Halo 1 and 2 as my
Hmm.
two favorites. Because yes, Halo 3 is up there, but Halo 1 and 2 for me were the games that kind of really cemented my love for first person shooters.
Right.
The fact that I played both stories with all of my friends over and over
Over
and
and over.
over. I have beaten that game more time than I have fingers and toes.
Oh yeah, easily.
So
Easily.
I
But
I
do you have
agree.
any honorable mentions that you wanted to shout out that couldn't make your list?
There's so many games out there that Microsoft has made over the years, and sometimes you forget they make them. Like, Halo Wars. That was a fun game back when I wanted to play a
Strategy.
strategy game on
Hmm.
a console, which
Right.
was kind of unheard of. That game was pretty well made, in my opinion. I played a ton
Hmm.
of it with some of my friends, so I think that was one of the good games. Just Gears beyond the first three games. They're still good games.
Hmm.
I always enjoyed them, but I gotta say, Microsoft Studios has made a lot of good games, like Sea of Thieves. It started out rough, but it got there. And
And
honestly,
it continues to do good.
yeah, it's not the greatest game out there, and sometimes I'm upset that I missed some of the events because I wasn't playing when the game wasn't big.
Right,
But there's a lot of good quality out there now. It shows the labor of love that where it could have been, it got to.
right. And it's made by a great studio. Rare Replay is a phenomenal studio.
Agreed.
But I have a couple honorable mentions too. We can't forget KOTOR. KOTOR should have been on my list for top five, but because KOTOR was originally an Xbox exclusive, coming on the Microsoft, was only on Xbox. And then it came on the Switch recently, and then PlayStation and PC, and blah blah blah. Later, we get it. But another one, Fable. Fable franchise was huge, and I've never played any of them, but I know a lot of people who really thoroughly enjoyed this series, and I'm actually excited for this new one that's coming out, being made by Playground Games, who does the Forza Horizon series. So that's going to be big. And then you talked about Sea of Thieves. That was on my honorable mention. We can't forget Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. That was an exclusive to Xbox. And then Dead Rising series. That was one of my favorite zombie games ever because
Oh,
that you could just do whatever the fuck you wanted
forgot
in
all
that shit.
about Dead Rising. I really, honestly, that's the kind of game we need right now. Just need a new Dead Rising game.
Yeah, we sure do. The closest thing that we're going to get to it is Dying Light 2, even though that's a little bit more gruesome and a little bit more serious. Serious.
Honestly, Dying Light, there's a lot of work to be done there, and I'm hopefully I'm hopeful and optimistic that the next game in the series is going to be good, but I am
Mhm.
being a realist here.
Right, for sure. Man, it's crazy to see how many like great games that were exclusive to Microsoft and all the efforts that went into making these great games. So definitely a shout out to them. And actually, next week I'm just gonna put the topic out there now. We're gonna do the top five PlayStation games or PlayStation games next week. Okay. So anything last from you, Roger, before we close out this week's episode?
Thank you all for all 6 viewers who came out today to check us out. Appreciate it.
Definitely want to thank everyone who do check us out live today, and anybody who does check us out later on YouTube. We definitely appreciate it. Just come check us out on Sundays at 7 p.m. Join the conversation. Give us your thoughts, your list, your favorite games, your anything. Definitely appreciate it. But Roger, where can we find you at?
You can find me at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion. My name's below. I'm probably going to be streaming something after this.
And of course, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _. My Facebook is Vic Brubacher on there. So if you have any questions, concerns, want to come on the show, hit me up there. Of course, my Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. Come hit me up on there, party up, let's play some games because I'm on there all the time. And streaming right now, I'm just streaming on this channel, trying to grow it. So definitely help us out by giving us a follow, share us out, get more people to check out the content for sure. But definitely want to thank everyone again. But until next time, peace.
Peace.